is our star actor, the new Mercedes-Benz Formula One racing car. 2.5 litres, 260 horsepower and a speed of almost 190 miles per hour. A car of revolutionary design based upon exhaustive and lengthy tests. This car is the brainchild of many men, and here we see 3 of them, the technical manager, Dr. Nallinger, with Dr. Scherenberg and Mr. Kraus, one of the engineers. Final preparations for the start in a small workshop at Reims. The sporting world looks to France, full of anticipation and suspense. The Mercedes is back again after 15 years. But the opposition has already been in the field since the end of the war, gaining a tremendous lead in design and experience. Mercedes-Benz starts from scratch, but with new ideas. Direct fuel injection into all 8 cylinders, internal turbo brakes, and a new swing axle with a low pivot. The car is fueled. Everything is running smoothly. By the way, the fuel has been brought along from Germany. Also the tires. Before them lies a stretch of 310 miles at racing speed, and upon them lay the hopes of all who work at Mercedes. From the start, the course leads past the stands into the first sweeping right-hand curve. This cannot be taken at full speed, but even so, ace drivers manage it at about 160 miles per hour. Sharp bends need a lot of mastering, and racing drivers must learn to combine safety with maximum speed. After the narrow right-hand curve at Muison, there follows a straight section of just under 1 mile until the Tilloy curve forces the cars into second gear. The Reims course is 5.185 miles long. The Mercedes-Benz is unloaded and runs down the tracks into the keen and interested gaze of both experts and the general public. A human chain is formed to hold back the mass of spectators. The Grand Prix atmosphere is full of excitement and speculation. Ferrari, Maserati and Gordini, with their internationally famous drivers, will pit their strength against Mercedes. As electric starters set the engines into motion, the car parks near the start and finish line fill to capacity. Not one of the 200,000 visitors realizes that only 2 nights ago, vital parts for the cars were still being designed and constructed in the Stuttgart plant. Additional oil and petrol tanks were installed only a few hours before the race. Dr. Nallinger has a word with Dr. Scherenberg. Hans Hermann, Kling, Fangio, Murrayman. Kling's car is pushed to the starting line. Fangio's car also. The Argentinian gets out to stretch his legs before the race begins. The last few seconds before the start, in the front row, Fangio, Kling and Ascari. Right from the start, Kling, number 20, and Fangio, number 18, take the lead. Now Fangio is ahead of Kling. Behind them come Gonzalez and Hawthorne in their new Ferraris, Merrymon, Maserati, Trantignon, Villoresi and Hans Hermann. World champion Alberto Ascari has fallen out with his Maserati. The second lap near Mousson. Average speed so far 110 miles per hour. Fangio leads, followed by Kling. The end of the second lap. The telelens shows us the closely packed field coming out of the Tilloy curve. This 1.5 miles straight to the start and finish line is somewhat shortened by the telephoto lens, which has the effect of slowing down the speed as well. The Mercedes of Fangio and Kling are still in the lead. Behind them come Gonzalez, Hawthorne, Marimon, Villoresi, Trintignant and Hermann. Some laps later, and the great attack of the Italians on the leading Mercedes has failed. Gonzalez, Hawthorne and Villoresi have fallen out. Hermann, who gained third place after a record-breaking lap, has also had to retire. Far ahead of the field, Fangio and Kling battle for first place. 40 years ago to this very day, Mercedes won a triple victory in the French Grand Prix at Lyon. Then the year was 1914. Charles Faroux remembers that day. In fact, there's very little about French motor racing that he doesn't remember. In the rain, Gordini, having already been overtaken, still hangs on. Pit signals give the positions. First, Fangio, second, Kling, third, Mazon in a Ferrari, and fourth, Bera. Fangio has a clear lead, but Kling is not beaten. Determinedly, he fights his way closer to his teammate. Both Mercedes drivers battle with all that is in them and in their cars for victory. The final lap, and Carl Kling leads. A thrilling finish with only seconds in it either way. Fangio finishes in front of Kling. A double victory for Mercedes-Benz and a record speed of 115.9 miles per hour. A magnificent comeback after 15 years. Fangio receives one of victory's rewards. Carl Kling, number 2. Well-wishers present flowers to Mr. and Mrs. Fangio and offer their congratulations. A sensation in the world of sport. A few hours later, the whole world has heard of it. In Tokyo, Cape Town, New York, in London, Rio and Rome, Mercedes has achieved something unique in the history of motor racing. A double Grand Prix victory after 15 years of non-participation. The news makes headlines. More than ever before, world attention focuses upon the next championship race, the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Gonzalez in a Ferrari takes the lead. Fangio ahead of Moss, Maserati and Hawthorne Ferrari. But pre-race fears become unhappy reality. The streamlined style of the Mercedes is not suited to the Silverstone course. Fangio is second behind Gonzalez. Then comes Hawthorne. Mr. Uhlenhaut, the chief tester, is nevertheless still in the best of spirits and gathering invaluable experience. Fangio's first impressions of the race come in the form of dents in his right wing. The order after the 58th lap: Gonzalez, Moss, Hawthorne, Fangio. 32 more laps to go. Moss retires. And Gonzalez wins ahead of Hawthorne, Marimon and Fangio. Kling is in 7th place. The score is now 1-1 in the fight between Mercedes and Ferrari. Victory or defeat, experience is gained in every race. Mercedes keeps on working. The body design is modified for the next championship race at the Nürburgring. Each car is given a final checkup before the start. The new body design is more conventional, with all 4 wheels exposed. The British Mercedes Club visits the European Grand Prix. A friendly gesture on the part of its members and an amusing and nostalgic sight for spectators. Memories of the good old days come flooding back. In 1928, this model won at the Nürburgring. And a little more than a decade later, German factory cars made their last appearance in international racing. The names of the great international drivers of that time still echo today. Caracciola, Nuvolari, Chiron, Rosemeyer, Varzi, Brauchitsch, Delius. Only one of them is still in the field, Hermann Lang. At the Nürburgring starting line on August the 1st, 1954. President Heuss is an interested spectator. president talks with Rudolf Caracciola. "22 cars in hot pursuit in the south turn. There are some 312 miles to go. Gonzalez leads, followed by Fangio, Moss, Lang and Herrmann. At the airfield, the order is unchanged. Modifications to Kling's car were only completed minutes before the race began. Having, therefore, been unable to take part in the training runs, he had to content himself with the last position on the grid, but he forges on nevertheless. The positions after the Fuchsröhre in the Adenauer Forest: Gonzalez, Fangio, Moss, Lang, Herrmann. The field has already spread out. Kling continues to pick up. Through the Wehrseifen to the lowest point of the course. Another view, this time from the air. 180 yards ahead of the bright silver car of Fangio is a dark, fast-moving dot. Gonzalez in his Ferrari. Curve follows curve. There are 176 of them in each lap of 14.2 miles. From the Bergwerk, the course winds to the Carousel. At the grandstand, the leading cars are eagerly awaited. Team manager Alfred Neubauer in action. The end of lap 1 and the lead has changed. Mercedes is in front, Fangio having completed the first lap at an average speed of 84.15 miles per hour. Hermann Lang, number 21, is in third position. Mike Hawthorne tries to pass Hermann in the south curve. Kling is in hot pursuit. The two Argentinians forge ahead. In third place lies Hermann Lang. Behind him, Moss, Hawthorne, Trintignant and Berra. Kling is now in 8th position. Moss has retired. After the third lap, it's first Fangio, number 18. Second, Gonzalez, number 1. And third, Hermann Lang, number 21. Lang passes through the Hudson-Bach. Then Lang attacks Gonzalez, and a moment later passes him. Two Mercedes are now in the lead. Gonzalez has fallen back. In the Fuchsröhre, a new challenger appears, Karl Kling. Hawthorne has retired. Hermann and Trintignant now fight for 5th place. Shortly afterwards, Hermann too retires. Lang and Kling jockey for position in the carousel. Then through the Schwalbenschwanz. The fight continues in the Dörfinger Höhe, the straight leading to the grandstand. Then Kling passes the airfield alone. What has happened to Lang? Retired. In the pits, the two Hermanns warn their teammates, Fangio and Kling, not to drive too fast. Kling goes into the lead. Gonzalez has to retire because of stomach trouble. Hawthorne takes over the wheel of his Ferrari. Feverish activity in the pits. Karl Kling comes in. Only two mechanics are allowed to work on the car. A loose upper strut on the rear axle is tightened up. Three more laps to go. That stop at the pits has put Kling back to 4th place. Fangio, Hawthorne and Trintignant are ahead of him. Then Trintignant pulls in, but only for a few seconds. His position is not affected. Fangio wins the Grand Prix. Hawthorne is second. This course, which lies just outside the gates of the Swiss capital, is one of the most interesting in the world. Curve follows curve with treacherous regularity. Some are blind turns. Others can be seen for just a second or so before they are under the front wheels. To counteract peculiarities of lighting, Mercedes equipped its drivers with special goggles. The course is a fast one, the average lap speed being 100 mph. Fangio leads the field. Gonzalez, Moss, Kling, Ken Wharton, Hawthorne, Vera, Herrmann, Mantovani, and Mires chase after him. Fangio's time for the 21st lap is 2 minutes 40.7 seconds, which gives him an average speed of 101.3 miles per hour. Cool-headed Gonzalez holds second place. Hawthorne and Moss have already retired. Fangio way ahead in the IMAT. Carl Kling, who spun his car in the Forsthaus bend at the beginning of the race, moves up from last to third place. Then loudspeakers announce that his car, number 8, is being pushed off the course. Hans Herrmann now lies third. As Herrmann takes his Mercedes through the Forsthaus bend for the last time, the winner is already being flagged in at the winning post. The winner once again is Juan Manuel Fangio. Gonzalez is second. Hans Herrmann third. Mires is congratulated in fourth place. The championship table remains unchanged. Fangio has simply increased his lead by 9 points. 8 points for a first place, 1 for the fastest lap. Only an expert can really understand all the facts contained in these figures. To help you to appreciate a little more about the work which a racing engine has to do, you see here a map. The distance between Frankfurt and Stuttgart is 180 miles. The moving pistons of a racing car have to travel that same distance within the engine during the course of a normal Grand Prix race such as at Bern. This medium-sized truck is capable of carrying a load of about 5 tons. The piston of a racing car must withstand that same pressure, 5 tons, with each power stroke of the engine. There are 60 power strokes every second, and during the course of a race, the total reaches some 650,000. Added up, we get this fantastic figure. The total pressure borne by the piston corresponds to 15 times the weight of the world's fastest liner, the United States. Naturally, this pressure doesn't come all at once, but is spread over a period of time. The energy required to slow a racing car down from 156 to 60 miles per hour would be sufficient to lift a block weighing 3/4 of a ton from the bottom to the top of the Eiffel Tower. This railway locomotive weighs 50 tons. If we were to hang it on a wire with a diameter of a fraction over 1 inch, the stresses and strains to which this wire would be subjected would be equal to the total pressure borne by all parts of a modern racing car. Nearly every part of the racing model embodies the results of experience and research. However, the domestic car shouldn't be forgotten. It too benefits from knowledge gained in the hard school of road racing. Here we see the production line and a huge press stamping metal sheets. Mercedes paid great attention to good body design. At times, electromagnets are used to remove the finished articles from the machines. Then there's the iron hand, an almost human piece of equipment which saves valuable manpower and lowers the accident rate. Component parts are also made in plants at Berlin, Mannheim, Gargenau, Sindelfingen and Unterturkheim, all of whose experts, by the way, contributed to the design and construction of the racing models. The rear axle assembly, and an important step in the development of the swing axle. This too has been submitted to exhaustive tests during racing events. The body of the 220 is brought in on an aerial conveyor. Stops exactly in the right place, is lowered, lined up with the chassis, and then assembled. This is the single joint swing axle with low pivot. The brakes of the 220 model. The fins ensure efficient cooling of the drums. Yet another example of the similarity between the racing and domestic models. Mr. Uhlenhaut points out the pivot of the racing car's swing axle. It lies, as you see, extremely low. In other cars, it's a good bit higher. The following diagrams demonstrate the way in which Mercedes-Benz uses its racing experience to raise the standard of its domestic products. The swinging axle used previously in the production car gave the vehicle good road adhesion coupled with excellent springing properties. Even the worst bumps couldn't shake the wheels off the ground. It had been hoped to use this principle on the racing and sports cars, but it was found that the high pivot of the axle was not providing the faster models with sufficient stability. In the new system produced for the racing models, both axles are joined to one central and lowered pivot point. Road holding is even more improved, especially during high-speed turns. The lower pivot point also reduces the outward swing of the wheels, a fault very prevalent in former designs. This development prolongs the life of the tires. The new axle is now fitted to all Mercedes products. So the evolution of the racing car benefits the private motorist. In this car, the brake drums are mounted within the frame. The fins, when rotating, cause air to circulate from outside to in. This apparent tangle of metal is the frame of a Mercedes racing car. It is no easy thing to lift about, and only Mercedes workers ever get the chance to try their skill. The frame consists of thin-walled steel tubes welded together. These keep down weight without any loss of durability. The same frame is used in the production model, the 300 SL. In all, its skeleton weighs 176 pounds. All Mercedes workers, even the youngest, are encouraged to make their own criticisms and suggestions concerning the overall development of the firm's products. Each 300 SL engine is run on the test bench for several hours. Torque and output are carefully measured at different speeds. This is the engine of the 300 SL, which employs a system of fuel injection. Again, the production line cars have the same design as their racing sisters. Petrol is driven by the fuel pump into the injection pump, and from there forced directly into the individual cylinders. Here's one of the injection nozzles. The principle is similar to that of the diesel engine. Meanwhile, the Mercedes racing team has arrived at Milan for the Grand Prix at Monza. The beautiful cathedral stands watch over the busy city. Here we have one sleepy horsepower. Someone else snatches 40 winks, and Don Camillo ventures into the traffic. This is the autostrada to the course at Monza. The Italians have brought up their strongest forces for this race. Ascari and Villoresi are again present, both having signed a new agreement with Ferrari. And while these famous names look down from their posters on the wall, Mr. Uhlenhaut brings in one of the world's fastest cars. On the last day of training, the heat is oppressive. Even powder and lipstick can do little to offset the ravages of the sun. Before the race, everything is again thoroughly checked. Director Nullinger, Mr. Uhlenhaut, and Dr. Schellenberg. Mike Hawthorne. World champion Alberto Ascari. Gonzalez and Fangio. Maurice Trintignant. Carl Kling. Gonzalez prepares for the start. I don't expect that this umbrella has ever heard of rain. The last few moments before 0 hour. Any moment now. They're off. 80 laps, each of 3.914 miles. That makes 313 miles to go. Lap 1 and Kling and Fangio lead from Ascari, Moss, Gonzalez and Hawthorne. Mercedes still in the lead. Kling, Fangio, Ascari, Gonzalez, Moss, Hawthorne and Hermann. The field in the Lesmo curve. Kling falls back and Fangio takes the lead. Kling and Hawthorne fight it out together. Gonzalez streaks after the Mercedes. Fangio still leads, but is about to be passed by Ascari. Behind them are Moss and Gonzalez. A battle for the lead which changes constantly. One Mercedes against a superior number of Ferraris and Maseratis. Ascari races ahead. Kling is fifth, but drops out later on. Fangio is hemmed in by the Italians. Rain begins to fall. The course becomes dangerously slippery. Ascari holds his lead, then Fangio. Today the Italians are going all out. Sterling, Moss and Gonzalez close in on Fangio. Ascari increases his lead steadily. Wild enthusiasm everywhere. A victory over Mercedes seems inevitable. Only one German car against 3 Italians. Moss in a Maserati overhauls Fangio. Close behind him, coming into the attack, are more Ferraris and Maseratis. The 45th lap, Moss still leads in spite of heavy pressure from Ascari and Fangio. Excitement among spectators. Ascari is out. Frenzied activity in the pits. Nerves are taut. Manzon retires. Sterling Moss retires with engine failure. The Ferrari pit. Gonzalez takes over Maglioli's car, but there's little hope of altering the outcome of the race. Moss pushes his car to the finish line. The race has been an enormous ordeal, but in spite of it, Fangio's Mercedes still keeps going. After completing the remaining few laps, Mercedes wins on the Monza course, the home of the Italian Grand Prix. Hermann comes in fourth. Fangio wipes his face free from oil and dirt. Hans Hermann cleans up too. A factory honors its racing team. The president, Dr. Koeniger, pays tribute to the achievements of the drivers, the mechanics, and the many thousands of Daimler-Benz workers. All are pioneers of development. Dr. Koeniger said, "Devotion to work and the intelligent use of machines help to create the car of tomorrow. Our successes upon the race courses of the world are a visible and lasting proof of efficiency." Dr. Nallinger presents Fangio with the Mercedes Diamond Pin. For the first time, Fangio inspects the workshops of Daimler-Benz. Apprentices say it with flowers. Mrs. Fangio, too, receives congratulations and praise from Dr. Koeniger. A few words with his mechanic, a man who not only works with his hands, but speaks with them, too. The road to success has been a long and arduous one. The Mercedes team, with its heavy transporters, has traveled hundreds of miles to meet its opponents on the race courses of Europe. It went to sunny France, to the cooler shores of England, through the forests to the Nürburgring, the rush to Bern, and then the journey across the Swiss Alps to the Monza Grand Prix. One journey still remains, the longest of all, to the last Grand Prix in Barcelona. Off to the land of senoritas and toreadors. From Stuttgart, the first halt is the border post at Kehl. The Mercedes caravan is on the road again. through the Alsace and Rhone valleys to Avignon. The Franco-Spanish border. Now the last leg of a long and tiring journey. Barcelona, with its monument in memory of Christopher Columbus. Here is the vessel in which he discovered America, the Santa Maria. The Montserrat. The debut of the new Lancia racing model gives rise to great interest. One unusual feature of the design is the fuel tanks, which are mounted externally, one on either side of the fuselage. World champion Ascari is to drive one of the new cars, Villaresi another. The Maserati drivers, Prince Bira and Miras. The American driver, Harry Schell. The course at Barcelona measures 3.92 miles, and this time Ferraris have it all their own way. The Lancias of Ascari and Villaresi do well at first, but have to retire after a few laps. Schell scrapes a corner and gets a little off the beaten track. Mercedes, too, are in difficulties with the cooling system. Fangio is in 4th place. Mike Hawthorne wins the Barcelona Grand Prix for Ferrari. Apart from these 6 World Championship races, Mercedes has just one more appearance to make, on the Arbus track in Berlin. start of the traditional Arbus race, which, in view of their crowded 1954 program, is only a demonstration of goodwill on the part of Mercedes. One thing is of interest, however. Can Berlin become the owner of the world's fastest racetrack? Can Mercedes beat the post-war record set up at Indianapolis, an average speed of 130.795 miles per hour? The stopwatch records an average speed of more than 131.72 miles per hour for the three leading Mercedes, driven by Kling, Fangio and Hermann. The Frenchman, Jean Bérard, thrills the Berlin crowd with a superb demonstration of driving skill. Mercedes stream through the North Curve at speeds of well over 100 miles per hour. Lap after lap, as regular as clockwork, round and round they go. These cars are not designed to look good, but inside them is packed the knowledge and experience which will form a basis for the car of the future. Kling and Mercedes have won the fastest race in the world at a total average of 132.659 miles per hour. Much has happened since that frantic drive through the night before the Grand Prix at Reims. Nobody then knew what the outcome would be. But years of untiring labor have brought their reward. Mercedes won, a fitting tribute to pioneering and development.